My name is Mustafa Ahmed. I'm an interventional cardiologist, and a large part of my job is dealing with heart attacks and fixing the blocked arteries that cause them. The title of this video is The Widowmaker, which is the mythical term applied to a particularly dangerous form of heart artery blockage. And as if the term Widowmaker wasn't bad enough, believe it or not, the heart tracing associated with a Widowmaker heart attack is known as the tombstone pattern. And as you can see on this EKG tracing on the screen here, it resembles a bunch of tombstones. If someone shows me a tracing like this, I know I need to fix this very, very quickly. On this diagram of the normal blood supply to the heart, the red lines that can be seen running over the heart surface are known as the coronary arteries, and by far the most important of these are the left-sided arteries. And when a heart attack happens, there is basically complete blockage inside a coronary artery. Most of the coronary arteries of adults have some buildup of plaque inside them. When a heart attack happens, this plaque basically bursts, and much in the same way as when you get a cut, a scab forms on top to try and heal it. Inside the coronary artery, blood comes and forms a clot on top of this plaque rupture, but unfortunately that results in the entire artery being blocked. Because of that blockage, no blood can flow beyond that, and so the heart muscle that was receiving the blood starts to die within minutes to hours. And if the blood flow is not restored quickly, the muscle typically dies. The consequences, of course, can be catastrophic, and the heart attack may be large enough to lead to sudden death, and unfortunately many patients don't make it to hospital alive. But for those that survive and make it to hospital, the outlook is certainly improved. But if the blood supply is not restored in a timely fashion, a scar replaces that once beating heart muscle, and the heart is often irreversibly damaged. So how do we diagnose what's going on inside the coronary arteries? And one of the methods of doing this is what's playing on the video here, which is known as a coronary angiogram. This involves passing a small tube up to the heart and inside the artery, injecting dye through here, then taking x-rays to tell us the course of the artery and to show us any significant blockages. You may know this procedure as a cardiac cath procedure. The pictures you can see here are of a normal coronary angiogram. I want you to pay attention to the right side of the screen, which is the blood supply to the left side of the heart, and the left main artery gives rise to the left circumflex artery and the left anterior descending artery. We're going to call the left anterior descending artery the LAD from now on. And when the LAD has a critical blockage right at the beginning of the vessel, this is known as a Widowmaker, and I'm going to show you this in more detail in the next slide. The problem with a critical blockage right at the beginning of the LAD is that it then means the entire blood supply to the front wall of the heart and more is compromised. And so as far as heart attacks goes, this is a big one with big consequences, which is why we take it so seriously. This is an angiogram of a patient with a Widowmaker blockage. These are two views of the LAD in the same patient, and they demonstrate a 95% blockage at the beginning of the artery. The good news is that if done in time, we can treat these blockages to fairly good effect with the use of minimally invasive techniques such as stent placement. This diagram shows a stent placement inside a blockage. A balloon with a stent over it is inserted into the blockage over a wire. The balloon is then expanded, which expands the stent with it. Then you take the balloon out, which leaves the stent inside the vessel and has resolved the blockage. And so this next series of images is an example of fixing a Widowmaker lesion in the LAD. On the left there you can see there's a 95% blockage at the beginning of the LAD, which is known as the Widowmaker. In the middle image here you can see a wire is passed through the vessel. Over that a balloon has been placed with a stent over it, And as part of the stenting procedure, this is then expanded, leaving the stent in there. And on the right, you can see the artery after stenting, and the 95% blockage has now been reduced to a 0% blockage with a great result. And finally, we're going to look at a blockage which is truly the mother of all widowmakers. I want you to look at the right side of the screen again, which is the blood supply to the left side of the heart. The left main artery gives blood to the LAD and the left circumflex artery. So as you can imagine, a total blockage of the left main artery would mean no blood to the circumflex and no blood to the LAD and no blood to the entire left side of the heart. The consequences of that would be truly catastrophic, and a sudden blockage of the left main artery would almost certainly result in immediate sudden death. These pictures are taken from angiograms of patients with critical left main artery blockages. On the left here, you can see a 95% blockage where the red arrows are pointing of the left main artery. And on the right here is a hazy appearing, almost complete left main artery blockage as it goes into the LAD and the circumflex arteries. Once again, the red arrows are pointing towards that area of blockage. So this form of widowmaker is as rare and as life-threatening as you get, and as I was saying before, a total blockage of the left main artery would result in almost immediate sudden death. Now, when you have very high-grade blockages like the one seen here, pretty urgent, if not emergent, treatment is required. And for the kind of lesions you can see here, generally surgery is the preferred treatment option. However, there's some cases which are felt too high risk for surgery, which I've had to fix before using stenting procedures. And those are usually, in these kind of cases, reserved for those people felt to be too high risk for surgery. But let me show you an example of a left main artery fixed with stents in the next set of images. This final set of images is of a high-risk procedure being performed to treat the left main artery blockage. On the left, you can see the very high-grade blockage of the left main artery, almost looking like a complete bite had been taken out of there. In the middle, you can see balloons in the arteries which were used as part of this complex stenting procedure. And on the right, you can see the result after the stent placement, which looks almost like there's no blockage at all, much improved, and blood flow's been restored to the entire left side of the heart, with an excellent result, which was confirmed by a camera placed inside the vessels to ensure a good result. And so now I hope you have a better understanding of the widowmaker lesions, what they are, and potentially how they are treated.